What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle. Right off the rip, if you have not subscribed, hook this up, because this video took some time, serious investment. We made a tier maker. We created this. Myself, Cass, the graphic designer, came together with a collective. We have 14 leagues from team of the season, technically speaking. And we're going to give you that placement. So please, like the video, share it around the community. I haven't seen anyone drop this type of goodness. Did I mention 14 leagues? And then comment below, where would you situate? Where would you position? We got a God tier, top tier, mid tier, discard tier. It will all come together in a beautiful collective. Criteria, pay attention. We're looking at individualism, how talented a couple of the individuals per league, maybe more than that. Then we're looking at league options, variety, depth, and then weekend league rotations. Did we see these players used? And were they doing some abusing? Were they relevant? Were they prevalent? Were they dangerous? Don't even get me started with superlatives and adjectives, metaphors, analogies. It will come in hot fire, fuego. If you want to join the conversation, you want your voice to be heard outside of the comment section, stay connected. IG, Mike LaBelle, Twitter, the same, Twitch, you name it. All of it happens. We do this daily. Let's begin. I will link this tier maker that I have created, or that we have created. It's in order by release. We're taking all the steps. And at the very end of the video, I might move some different leagues around if needed, if justified. After a review. I like raw, unfiltered. EFL, Buendia, Tony, Santos or Santos. Complete fraud. This was the opener for the stand-up act, the main event. It was short-lived and it was a fraud week. I didn't really enjoy it. I think we're gonna go discard to begin. It just doesn't deserve better. I remember these players I did not enjoy using whatsoever throughout the weekend league. Maybe just Buendia. They didn't have a lot of honorable mentions. Community team of the season. Hidden gems in the starter pack, first edition. This had the likes of Valverde, Barnes, Mook, Wan-Bissaka, Alaba, even other notables. We had Tagliafico, and Dembele, and Kunku. Solid. I'm not sure if I'm ready to give out that top tier. Definitely not a God tier, but a lot of these players, very, very usable. Might make an argument to move up a notch. I think we're gonna start with the mid, and we're gonna go from there. But I can see it being a mid to a top, maybe an in-betweener. Definitely not a God. Premier League, say what you will. Maybe did not meet your expectation. It didn't deliver for yours truly. But we do have end gamers. The likes of Rashford, Sonaldo, Fernandez, Cancelo. You can also bring up Luke Shaw, KDB, Salah. I'm not ready to put the G word on. Not quite, but it has to be top tier. You're still dealing with players that are relevant, that are dominant, that are impactful, that are premium quality for the rest of this FIFA installment. Easy argument's sake. Some of you might say it even deserves a little bit higher. I just remember being a little disappointed. Actually, high-key let down because the players didn't shift enough. The upgrades weren't substantial enough. We didn't have new, inventive creations. I wanted that Frankenstein effect. Saudi, team of the season. Romarinho, Banega, and that's about it. This is a pretty easy discard. Not a lot of depth, not many options, and you might be forcing to use these guys. Weren't the easiest inclusions, decent nationalities, but the rotations, it didn't happen. That was not accidental. La Liga, ooh, you got some goons, meta material. We had the likes of Messi, 98 with the physical package, high stamina finally, 85 strength, Suarez or Suarex, Varane, maybe the most overpowered or broken foot item throughout the majority of this year. That De Jong in the center mid role, unstoppable. And then you also had a nice little collective with notables, Alba, Kareem the Dream, Llorente, who I still used last weekend league, Koundé, and then the underappreciated, and maybe I did not give this man proper respect with Vasquez, who was looking like a winger but could play as a box-to-box, a lot of versatility, a lot of stat room checking or checking in. Hotels. We're getting a God tier. That's what I'm trying to say. La Liga. First of its kind so far. Super League. Who are we taking from this team of the season? Serious question. This is barely a tier. It's the Forgotten League. Discard. I never saw any of these players get in any rotation. There was no content around the Super League. This was a throwaway. Sadly. It is what it is. Bundesliga. Lewandowski, Goretzka, Sancho. Wow. And what an upgrade. Some of these players, their entire outlook, their perspective shifted, it changed because of the types of upgrades, whether it was weak foot or it was skill moves. Davies, we already knew what he was about. Tapsoba, arguably the best of the team of the season center backs. And he was affordable. Lacroix, and then other notables. Kimmich, Sabitzer, LaBelle, Sabitzer, Labitzer, Marcel, LaBelle, and Angelino, Baku. God, tier has to be. Bundesliga, up there. Upper echelon. So many players that not only can perform and give you this beautiful package. Cream of the crop. Crispy bacon, fresh squeezed orange juice. But it was a little more unexpected because some of the upgrades were so significant that it changed the dynamic and the capability of the players, made them more prolific. It was what we needed. Sancho had been high rated all year, but we didn't use him. We couldn't. We needed the weak foot. We got the weak foot. Coasting, boasting. Speed was upgraded where it needed to be from the jump, from the rip, the initial drop. Liga NOS. We're heading to Portugal. Rafa, you could talk about him a little bit. Wonderful beard. Maybe Pedro. Not a very complete league. Some of you have been telling me underrated, but I don't know what players you're using for notable standouts, or if you're looking into a bunch of depth. This was also a miss for me. I'm not sure if I want to inch it into a mid. Deep down, my FIFA hearts of heart, this still feels discard-like. Overall, you should let me know. What did you feel team of the season as a promo across all the leagues was rated from a 1 to 10 score? Maybe I should have put that in the intro. Example, a 7.8 out of 10. If we're looking at all the leagues and players that were introduced. I'm starting it in a discard. It could push slightly. It's kind of in between for me. There's no chance that it's going to be a top or a god. I want to be a harsh judge. I want to get into those details and the intricacies. I take pleasure and pride in being a FIFA enthusiast. Serie A. Cristiano Ronaldo, Mertens, Lukaku. This will be the best Lukaku we ever see in a FIFA installment. I quite rate Kessie. We've talked a lot about Hernandez and his versatility and the argument that he could be one of the best fullbacks or center backs, depending where you want to play him. You also had inclusions like Muriel or Cuadrado or Insigne. I'm slightly leaning just a step down because if you took Cristiano out of the equation, you wouldn't have that many endgame players. Realistically, you got a few. It just feels right that it's more of a top. Maybe even slightly better than the Premier League, but I don't believe Serie A same placement as La Liga and Bundesliga, Dutch league, into the middies. We had Malin, we had Dumfries or Dumfries. You could talk about Coop or what was that player's name? The center back. Was it Bazoer? I don't think I'm doing that correctly at all from a pronunciation standpoint. I don't have written down notes. We also had Max, who was a left back. I've been really harsh here. We're giving out a lot of discards, so maybe we're gonna slightly move into a mid. If I do that, then I think I have to contemplate replacing the Portuguese league from a discard. We're working this out together. Remember, we do have a final review. Off to China. CSL. Now this causes some conflicts because you had Fellaini, who I rate, Bakambu, Alessandrini, Oscar, and they have good links. And we saw them used throughout weekend leagues. At least I did. I experienced these players. I still experience Alessandrini right now. I've seen Fellaini as a center back. The biggest issue with Fellaini was really bringing together squad building inclusion where you didn't have detriment or other areas in your starting 11 that you had to sacrifice in order to get him on the virtual pitch. But I do not think he's a fraud, and I think that he was priced appropriately. And I said all of this, and I'm still going to put them into the mid. They're not good enough to be a top. I think it's better than a discard. This feels right. Ligue 1. Just the front four between Mbappe, Neymar, Ben Yedder, OR. That's beautiful. We are talking about some of the best attackers that you're ever going to see in FIFA. Who's outperforming the likes of this Mbappe or Neymar? I'm not talking price points here. You don't have to tell me about expenses, fat pocketbooks, writing checks, hedge funds. I understand. Ben Yedder, he's a rat. Rats win games. They score goals. We talked about evolution earlier on. OR, outside of maybe a tall, who is ironically in the same league, who is more versatile, more balanced, gives you more stats, and even from a value standpoint, what you're actually paying. I also think Bamba should be in that conversation. Mo Bamba. And many of you loved Marquinhos because you went in saying that I didn't give him enough love. The same with Depay, Di Maria, Kimpembe. Ligue 1 is God tier all day, especially when you have 4 guaranteed endgame players, no debating. 4. MLS, Major League Soccer, Nani. You got yourself a masterclass. It's rare that MLS has a player of this caliber even after upgrades. Also liked Rossi. I enjoyed using Wagner. I played him last weekend league just to kind of bring together some of the links. Pretty underrated release. The only issue is a lot of these nationalities don't flow well. You kind of have to use multiple MLS players. So that comes into the equation if you're trying to figure out chemistry. Spinoza, Pozuelo, Rui Diaz, Mensah. It's pretty good. I'm going to put this as a mid. I'd love for it to fight for a top tier spot, but there's just no way. Not when you're looking at Serie A or Premier League. You would expect the big five to be kind of sitting in their own throne or really to dominate those top two positions. We can critique. I like doing that. I like the discussion. Rest of world. Basically Tavernier. This is a Santa Claus team of the season. I'm just not a believer in this case. A lot of these players are missing weak foots and skill moves, and they're going to be a little more invisible. You're not going to see them. You're not going to feel them. The presence isn't there. Makes it a discard. And then to close it out, ultimate team of the season. Whether you support or reject some of these selections, Cristiano, Mbappe, Messi, Lewandowski, KDB, Fernandez, Lukaku, Salah, Kimmich, Hernandez, go with Fernandez, Cancelo. There's a lot here. This is a no-brainer. You're taking some of the best players across the leagues, obviously a god tier, but I was surprised with some of the choices EA made in regards to which players got into what positions, especially when you're looking at the defense. Your center back options for a re-release that they left out were very surprising. And the fact that Neymar's also not here, we're not talking about it. Just an observation. Those are the tiers. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like on the video, get in the comments section, shake it, bake it, cake it, make it come together for the YouTube algorithm. I upload daily. We have all sorts of different social interactions, engagements, connections. If you want to stay in touch, you want to stay connected, they're linked down below, and I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.